I'm Rashad Bayramov, communication trainer and coach, and this is my Effective Communication series where I share with you various tips and advice on how to influence people in business and life situations. Today, I want to talk to you about preparing a good speech. I'm sure that at least once in your lifetime, you had to stand up and talk in front of an audience. Maybe it was at the wedding ceremony or in your team meeting or in front of your clients. Doesn't matter. The situations can be different, but the truth is that everybody has to at least once deliver a speech. So how to prepare a good speech? Let me share with you my advice. Number one, preparation starts with the key question. What is your goal? It doesn't start with PowerPoint. It doesn't start with a Word document. It starts with a question. What's the goal of your speech? What is the end result you want to achieve when your speech is over? Do you want to change your audience's opinion about something? Do you want them to buy something from you? Do you want them to cry when they hear you? Do you want them to laugh? Do you want them to, what do you want? So that goal, the question, what is your goal, is very important to answer before you even start drafting anything. Second step is actually write down in one sentence what is the key premise of your speech. So before you write down all the details of the speech, before you write down or prepare your slide pack, in one sentence, put down on a piece of paper what is the key premise of my speech. And it could be as simple as our product is the best in its category for this particular type of consumer. Or it could be something different. But the key is that to really think hard and write down everything, all the ideas, the whole idea of your speech in one single, consistent, concise message. If you can't do that, you got to really think very hard and go back to this question before you can answer this question positively. Okay, so what happens next? Once you're actually confident about the goal and the key message, then you start developing an outline. And an outline could be as simple as introduction, the main part, and the conclusion. Of course, there's a couple of other things that you can do in between introduction and conclusion. So let's assume that you make a speech or prepare a speech for, on behalf of your company, for a local charity marathon that your company is co-sponsoring. So your outline could look like introduction, basically welcoming the guests at an event, moving into the project itself, the charity marathon, its importance, details, moving into why your company decided to sponsor this event, moving into expressing gratitude to other co-sponsors, other organizers, and finally conclusion and concluding remarks can be something like wishing good luck to all the participants. So here you go, you have a very basic outline with the introduction, with information about the project, with information about why your company sponsored this event, with information about basically gratitude to various co-sponsors, and finally with a conclusion. Now once you have an outline, you need to now move to the next stage, and next stage is develop bullets for each outline block. I like to speak about presentations and speeches in terms of blocks, not as a whole speech, but rather as blocks. So you have now 3 or 4 or 5 blocks, and each block deserves 3 or 4 or 5 bullet points. Mind you, I'm not talking about writing a speech. I'm talking about putting down on paper your key ideas in form of sentences or, consisting of 3 or 4 or 5 words. Once you develop all your bullet points for each block, you will have now, say, 4 or 5 independent blocks with each of them having 3 or 4 or 5 bullet points. Now you're actually ready to write something looking more like a speech, and only if you really need to, because you may actually take that and use it as your props for delivering that speech. But if you really need to write down something, my recommendation is first speak, then write. And what I mean by that is literally take your note, create note cards, each note card representing a block of your speech. Say introduction, that's one note card. Information about project, that's a second note card. Information about why the company sponsored the project, that's the next card, etc. And on each note card you have all the bullet points for that particular block, and then you take that note card and you start looking at it and literally talking through it, explaining it, and record your voice. Once you've gone through entire speech, through all the blocks, on your phone you will actually have pretty much the first rough draft of your speech. Now, if you really want to, you can take that speech and write down everything you just spoken. And that can be, as I said, the first rough draft of your speech. Now, after that, my recommendation is polish your speech, or in fact, make or create bridges. Because let's face it, those blocks can look quite independent, but they don't really need to sound independent because your speech is holistic. It is delivered as one piece. That's why you need to build bridges from one block to another to another. And how do you build those bridges? Basically using certain words, such as, speaking of which, or however. And that reminds me of those little nice words or combinations of words actually create a smooth transition from one paragraph to another, from one block to another. And that way, your entire speech looks more as a whole, not as a collection of different parts. Finally, when you've done all that, rehearse. My recommendation is do at least 3 takes on your speech. Every take, record on your phone and listen to how it sounds. Because once you listen to it, I guarantee you will find at least a couple of mistakes or a couple of omissions or a couple of misunderstandings that you want to go back and correct. If you follow this sequence of actions I've recommended, I guarantee that your next speech will be certainly looking and sounding more professional and more holistic to your audience and to you. I wish you good luck with that, and I hope that this video has been helpful to you.